Hey everybody, my name is Harold Bryant, and this is one of my, I don't know, it's one of my video documentations that I do if I have something that's fairly important that I want to document. I don't just write it down or speak into a microphone that records my audio. I like to videotape myself talking about this and showing whatever facts that I can show during the video. In this particular video, I'm going to be referring to some of my notes here because I've got 4 pages worth of notes on an incident that happened where I didn't have to call the police, but where I did call the police on a suspicious activity. Not that anyone necessarily had broken the law or done anything wrong. It was just kind of a suspicious activity that could potentially be something bad. But on this case, it was last Friday. That would have been May 25th. It was about 2:30 in the afternoon. It was nice and sunny outside, typical normal day. And I was working inside my house, and I heard a knock on the door. And it was when I looked out the door, I saw these two guys standing there. Now this is a picture of them later on as they were across the street. What these guys were doing, standing on my step on my front porch, I really didn't know at that moment. So I stepped outside onto the porch and closed my front door behind me.
Down Albion, well now we're down on this street. We basically we set up all the appointments.
Immediately my dog Max ran out under my feet, and the first guy, who was a white male, was about 5'11", maybe 6 foot, not quite, but 5'11", 175 pounds, dark hair, dark eyes, clean cut, wearing a dark blue t-shirt, blue tie, blue jeans, and dark shoes. Clean cut. I think I said he was in his early 30s. So anyway, the guy immediately jumps down and starts petting Max, saying how cute he is and carrying on a conversation about Max and the type of dog and that kind of thing he is. So he ends up standing up later after a couple brief moment with Max, and he introduces himself, shakes my hand and says, "Hi, his name is Billy only," and introduces the other guy as David. We shake hands, and David is a white male, about 5'10", late 20s, 165 pounds, dark hair, dark eyes, clean cut, wearing a white shirt, had a tie on, tan pants, dark shoes, and he was carrying a small box. And that's the only thing they had in their hands. Oh, and by the way, both of them had tattoos on their arms. Billy had tattoos on his left arm down to his wrist, and David had tattoos also on his left arm, I believe, down to his wrist. Couldn't tell what the tattoos were because they had long sleeves on, and the sleeves were rolled up halfway. So bring back their picture again so you can see kind of what they look like again. So they had this white box in their hand, which you can see in the picture there, where David is holding it in his left hand. And they said, Billy was quick, and he said, what they're doing is they're selling air fresheners. And these air fresheners was what was inside the box. So he handed me the box, which is a sales tactic where you put something in front of somebody and they instantly grab it. So I took it, and I'm weighing it out in my hand, seeing, well, okay, it's not very heavy. It must be something relatively inexpensive. So I open up the box while they're talking. And, well, Billy's talking to me about their product, air fresheners, and the different types they are. So I look inside, and sure enough, it looks like an air freshener, kind of, with there's a cord in there. It looks fairly new. It wasn't something that was just cheap and thrown in there as a decoy. So he's talking about it, and he says to me, he goes, "Hey, do you have any water that I can put inside of this thing? Can I use your home and get some water?" So at that point, I literally put my hands up and said, "Guys, I can't let you in my home." I said, "For one thing, I don't even know who you are. I know you introduced yourself, but you're not wearing any kind of identification on your shirts. Normally someone that's representing a company, especially salespeople, wear some sort of identification. And this particular identification I just pulled out off the web to throw up there. It doesn't mean that's who they are. But yeah, they have some kind of identification on there. Now these guys, their shirts, they didn't even say, you know, Ralph Lauren or Polo or Tommy Hill. They didn't say anything on their shirts. It's plain short shirts and no identification at all. So I asked, I said, well, you know, you're not wearing any identification. I said, do you have any brochures on your product that I can look at and kind of make a name, you know, decide if I want this or not? And he, Billy, he laughs and he goes, no, they didn't give us any. I said, okay. I said, well, do you have any business cards? You have a business card. And Billy, he goes, oh, geez. He goes, this took me by surprise. He goes, oh, no. He says, some of the people that work for us, they wouldn't know what name to put on it. He goes, I'm not saying they're dumb or anything. And now I'm kind of going, well, if it's a business card, wouldn't they just have the company name and phone number and then whatever their name is on it? And he goes, oh, yeah. And then David jumps in and goes, oh, we gave all of our business cards away. We gave away like 6 just in your neighborhood here. So then that prompted me to say, oh, so in my neighborhood, you gave my neighbors some of the business cards and some of these products. And Billy jumps back in and goes, well, no, not from right here on this street. He goes, but from around the others, around the other areas. And we gave all of our business cards away. And I said, oh, so you saw my neighbors. So, you know, I'm thinking, you know, obviously my neighbors I know my neighbors. And now he realizes I know my neighbors. And he goes, oh, no, since there was no cars, we didn't go up to their homes. Now, I'm looking across the street and I notice my neighbor's car is in her driveway. My neighbor's car to the right of me is in her driveway. My neighbor to the left, even though there's no car there, the front door was open, and I know my neighbors all around there. So I kind of said, "Did you see my neighbors just here?" Thinking that maybe that's why they only had 1 box of samples, that they gave them away to my neighbors. And he said, "No, we've been going around the area." So what that did was it took me right back into realizing something's wrong. I mean, not only did these guys not have a business card on them that says who they are, they didn't have even a brochure or a clipboard in their hand that indicates that they're canvassing the neighborhood, what homes they've been to, who's interested and not interested, how many orders did they take. If I would have bought one, if I would have said, yeah, sign me up for 2 of them, how are they going to sign me up? What were they going to do? Just remember, oh yeah, the guy that lives over here, he ordered 3 of them, so we're going to go back and order these now, and he wanted one in this size and one of this, and he wanted one mailed to this person as a gift. I mean, they weren't prepared at all. So, and they realized that I was onto them on this thing. So they go, okay, well, we're going to call our van, because, that was the other thing. I said, because I started looking down the street, and I said, where did you guys park your car? And he goes, a van dropped us off, and he's going to pick us up any minute now. Okay, a van dropped you off, okay. So they stepped outside, and that's where you see this picture right here, where they're standing across the street at my house, watching my house and looking up and down for the street. Billy had gotten on his phone and called, apparently, the van. So a few minutes later, a white new van pulled up, and I kind of recognized this like a Nissan van. I couldn't be sure. I took a picture of it, hoping that I could read the license plate number just in case. But David goes into the van. I see him go into the van, and you can see him here as he's going to come running back in and hand me his card.
Hey, how's it going? Good. So here's one.
He goes back running across the street, and he hands me this little piece of paper. I gave the little brochure to the police department. This little piece of paper, about 4 by 4, little flimsy, like out of a magazine, which had a product on it and a name and a phone number on there. And that's the other thing too. I said, where are you guys located at? And he says, oh, Utica. I said, Utica? I'm thinking, well, that's kind of far away to be doing this kind of stuff, like what you're doing here. So he realizes I'm trying to think Utica. So he says, well, you know where the gun store is? And in my mind, I'm like, I don't know where no gun store is in Utica. But he seemed to think that, and why he brought up the word gun store to me, which was kind of odd to me too. That's another stinker that sunk with me, along with no IDs and not being prepared and all that kind of good stuff. So I saw that van, and it looked to me like a rental van, like that's what a typical rental car would be for something like that. So after after 15 minutes or so, I even talked to my neighbor next door and told them about how I debated about calling the police. And my neighbor was like, "Oh, geez," she goes, "I don't know if I wouldn't have let them in the house if they asked for water for that." And I said, "Well, yeah, that's part of the reason why I'm calling now is because they were probably looking for a victim." So I did. I called the police in my neighborhood, and I heard the call go out, and the call go out did not match what I had said, which is another reason why I don't like calling the police. They made it sound like suspects were in the area that had been in my home or something like that. I mean, it sounded more than just a suspicious call. So in this little clip, you'll see a little brief clip.
How you doing?
Where the police pull up, and I go outside and meet them and give them my information. So that's it in a nutshell. I know it's taken me about 10 minutes to get through all this, and I apologize for that. I wanted to be as brief as I possibly could. But again, if something strange like this happens, don't let people into your home. They should have identification on them. And as of this date, as of the publishing of this video, I haven't heard anything from the police department about this. Likely that I will. But in any case, this keeps my memory vivid, keeps my details clear, and I can share this with anybody else, and other people may say, oh yeah, this happened to me. Last year in my neighborhood, a person did knock on the door. They were invited into the home.
Scotia police warning residents after they say an elderly homeowner was targeted by a thief.
The resident told police that a man came to their home on Cuthbert Street Friday afternoon. The man said that there was work being done on the water main down the street, and he needed to check the water pressure. After he checked the basement, he left. But the next day, the resident noticed jewelry and money missing.
Police say legitimate utility workers will have photo ID and identifying clothing and vehicles. If you're unsure, just don't let them inside and instead call police.
So thanks for watching. Leave your comments below and subscribe to this. I'll keep bringing more of these things if they happen, and I'll do other educational and news events too. Thank you.